Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I want to talk to you about Rebellion pack sales, Rebellion pack prices, card prices, the future valuation of these cards. There's so much here, but I'm really going to focus in on the expectation that's growing in my heart, which is that the Rebellion packs, barring certain unique circumstances that we will try to explore in this video, the packs should retain their value for the next 8-9 months. That's a huge prediction that I never could have levied with any of the previous pack sales with this game. And now I've always been bullish on old pack sales. I'm bullish on this pack sale long term, but I'm talking medium term now, short to medium term. And I've never been able to hold that confidence. But in this set with Rebellion specifically, I have that confidence, and I want to explain to you why. I think for the next 6 to 9 months, you're going to see price stability in the Rebellion cards, the Rebellion packs, and then ultimately what would make them fall away from their established values. I think there is a path to that. We should be aware of it. As investors, as players, we should be thoughtful about this. So I hope you'll stick around with me. Stay tuned for this one. If you're new to my channel, my name is Dwayne Cunningham. I go by Infidel1258, and you can call me 12. Drop comments on every video if I read them, and if I turn them into a video, I would like to say thank you. So leave your IGN. Let's get into it. Okay, so I made some notes on this before I got started because this is a complex idea I want to unpack with you here today. But I really believe that there is something different about Rebellion as compared to Chaos Legion, as compared to Untamed. And we could talk about the number of packs that are available with each of these different editions. With Rebellion, there's 10 million. With Chaos, there was 15. With Untamed, there was 1.5. If you want to look at Dice or Rift Watchers, there's different numbers there too. And I don't know that they're entirely comparable because they are like the subset, or they're not the main release of the year or whatnot. So I'm going to focus on Chaos Legion and Untamed as I compare. But Rebellion's different for a lot of reasons. And it's got the new summoner tactics. It's got, ambush and some really cool new abilities that are super different and unique. It's got some amazing summoners that have the dual splinter, which is different and special and powerful. All of that makes this an interesting set in and of itself. And that's part of really why I think this set would hold value. But let's start the conversation with this. There's a limited supply. Rebellion has a limited supply, and there is 10 million packs that are possibly eligible to exist, but we well know that not all of them are going to exist. We know that they're, between the pre-sale and like the ultimate end of the sale, like if every pack sold, it would be 10 million packs, but already packs are not being, every day, some number of packs are being removed from possible creation. And that's part of the mechanic of this system and this set. And that's part of, I think, the mechanic of every set moving forward. Splinterlands has said that they aim and intention is to limit the creation beyond, limit the creation of these packs such that we are never selling more than we want or than the community wants, which is another way of saying we don't want to incentivize you to buy more than you need. And that's an interesting approach because previously they've really tried to incentivize us to buy as many as we could. That's a totally different juxtaposition, but I think it's wise, it's smart because it should hold price value. So they're limited in number. Yes, there's 10 million packs, but they're not all going to be created. We've heard Matt talk about how originally 2.5 million, 3 million was like to him a success. I suspect we are going to see that. I think 3 to 4 million is going to happen in terms of sales. And I could unpack a little bit of why, but I don't want that to be the focus of the video. Again, I'm trying to articulate why I think the pack value, the card value should sustain itself. I think we need to understand that there is not going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 million sold because of what I told you. Every day, some of them are just disappearing, being put into the DAO, and they'll never be sold. They'll never be released to market. They'll never be open and created. And that mechanic is different. So that's going to limit supply. Matt thinks 3 million. I believe that's probably right. I would say maybe I could expect 4 million. That's where my expectation lies with Rebellion. 4 million packs will be sold in my mind. That's my expectation across this next 9, 8, 10 months or whatever of the pack issuance. If I'm right, and if you compare that to say Untamed or even Rift watchers, or even, you know, I think you start to recognize that that number is, generally speaking, acceptable for this community to soak up, put to work without having an abundance of excess. That's the first big part of this. Another part wrapped into the same idea is that there is no big sales that are going to be planned. Clearly, from what Matt has said, they're not going to do any sort of Christmas sales or, you know, any incentives to make you buy more. You might argue that the leaderboard rewards were an exception to that. And I can see that viewpoint. We've talked about that on the channel already. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but, you know, clearly YGG SPL Pool bought 16,000 packs, A Brockman 13,000, etc. These people bought, you know, a lofty amount of packs. And for instance, Bulldog, I know that he was selling packs on the market in order to buy more packs to fight for this leaderboard spot. That could be an argument that that was one element of one incentive that the team allowed that incentivized more packs, 492,000 to sell in the pre-sale, as opposed to what they were predicting, which is, I think, was 250 or 300,000. So sure, you know, let's say that sold, let's say that the leaderboard and the sort of the create a summoner opportunity sold even 100,000 packs, which is not true. Like, look at this, 30,000, 40, 50, 60, 70, 70,000 sold, but even those people would have bought some. So call it 50,000 packs were sold that shouldn't have been sold if there was no leaderboard create a summoner opportunity. Maybe, right? So sure, some packs, but that's pretty limited. And we know that the team is not planning to implement any sort of additional bonuses, discounts, incentives to incentivize and encourage more sales. Yes, we have I guess I got to talk about the battle wagons, but even that is like a lockup mechanism for like a long term. So if you want to participate in that using packs, which is not the best way to participate in that, the battle wagons, if you don't know, are the way that we're going to earn Splinterlands airdrops for the Rebellion set. So you'll put your cards or your packs into a battle wagon, and they will earn a certain amount of points, and that will be compared against all the other competitors, and the people with the highest point total will receive the most airdrops. So of course that's going to lock up these assets. That's part of why I think these prices are going to remain stable. So I just talked about there's going to be a limited issuance. I think we sell 3 to 4 million packs, not 10. I think there's no big sales that are planned. I also think the battle wagons are going to solidify the existing demand, tightening up sale pressure and encouraging just holding on. And finally, within supply, within the conversation, this is just the first point, supply. There's one final point I want to make, which is that DEC is at peg, roughly speaking. DEC is, you know, DEC is currently, look at that, it's above peg according to LiveCoin Watch. But give or take, you know, a Splintoshi here or there. This thing has been at peg for now a week or two. Let's see, 7 days. Lowest point over here, 954 Splintoshis. And that was on December 4th, which was 6 days ago. And even that was, you know, that's 4:35 in the morning. And 5 hours later, it was already 990 Splintoshis. So we have been relatively stable at that, you know, peg value for now a long while. That's 7 days, but it's been more than that. 30 days. Let's see the low point over here. 928 Splintoshis in November 14th. So that's a full month ago. Over here, there was another drop. 927 Splintoshis. That's pretty stable. So I'm saying, as a final point on limited supply, I want to articulate the fact that DEC being at peg means that not only is the team not offering discounts for Rebellion, there is no arbitrage opportunity, which has previously existed for packs. When you wanted to buy Untamed packs, you had like a 60, it cost about 60 cents to buy 1,000 DEC. That was the price of DEC back then. And therefore there was this arbitrage opportunity with fresh money. You could bring in money, buy DEC, and utilize that DEC at greater than US dollar value. Again, 60 cents got you $1 worth of DEC, and the DEC was then exchangeable for packs. That's an arbitrage opportunity that allowed greater pack sales than otherwise would be possible. That's important because, again, it speaks to that opportunity doesn't exist here. And so because of DC being at peg. And therefore, that's one more reason. That's 4 different reasons I talked about why there's going to be limited supply of Rebellion. Not just today, but even by the end of this thing. There's never going to be a crazy amount of Rebellion. That's point number 1. Point number 2 is the common summoners. The common summoners that are available with this set. We know when you buy a Rebellion pack, what do you get inside of it? When you buy any pack, what do you get inside of it? You get 4 commons and 1 rare. And that is based on averages. You know, you can get 4 legendaries in 1 epic if you're lucky. They could all be gold foils if you're really lucky. But of course, that's not likely. You're guaranteed 4 commons and 1 rare. And traditionally, if we look at Chaos Legion and we look at, for instance, these commons, you got Carrion Shade. Look at these. I mean, just look at these cards. Like, and look at the price values too. 1.5 cents. I'm scrolling down. 2.8 cents, 3 cents, 4, 5 cents. These are all the commons. 15 cents, 17, 28. Well, these are rares. My bad. My bad. Common. So the most expensive commons are 4 cents. Nope. Gabo Hireling 16, 17 cents. Huge exception for that one card. Or even the Deep Lurker, which is amazing. 4 cents. So Goblin Psychic, so powerful at every level. 5 cents. These cards are key and powerful and important, and yet their price points are trivial. Now, in part, that's because Chaos Legion was issued 3 to 4 times in the amount that Rebellion will ultimately be issued. A lot of these packs were sold, 12 million, I think, and something like 2 million were deleted, and 2 million might have been ended up in the DAO, if I understand correctly. So something like 11, 12 million made it to market, and that's why these prices are low. But that's not the only reason these prices are low. Why are these commons why are Rebellion card commons going to be more expensive on average than these Chaos Legion cards? Is it just supply? The answer is no. It's yes, of course, supply matters. There's a lot of Chaos Legion sold, but the second and the most important factor is really utility and intrinsic value. These cards are great. Many of these cards are a must-have. I'm not saying they're bad, but when you compare them to the commons that come out of the Rebellion, you know that Rebellion has common summoners, and that's a huge difference. The common summoners introduce a game-changing sort of mechanic. The double splinter, well, it's not game-changing because we could always do dragon with, neutral, with water or death or whatever. But in this context, bringing together synergies that never existed, that matters. That really, really matters. And also, it's really important to understand that if you're new to this game, or even if you've been here for a while, do you recognize that summoners are the most important card in the game? Have you recognized that? Have you said that to yourself as you go shopping, as you plan your, investment within the game, as you think through where you're going to go and even how you want to grow what you're already doing in this game? If you haven't, you recognize that right now. They are the most important contribution, factor, consideration within your investment plan within Splinterlands. I say it that way because if you want to grow in what this game offers you and where you want to aim at a bigger, deeper, connection with this ecosystem, it's going to, in large part, one of the biggest ways to move that needle would be through accessing better summoners. I'm not saying these are the best summoners. I'm saying that these are interesting and powerful summoners that bring to the game something entirely new. Yes, these synergies are brand new. You have never been able to partner a death with a fire card, a water with a death card, a life with a water card, etc. You have never been able to do that. And those synergies are going to, and I haven't yet really seen it happen, but they're going to change the game. Now, I play at Diamond, so more often than what I'm seeing, I'm not seeing a lot of Rebellion cards as I play in Modern Diamond yet. Sometimes I do, but these are expensive cards and many people don't have them. It costs about 8,000 bucks to buy a full max set. Now, that means most people don't have them. So I'm not going to see the impact fully. I'm not going to feel the impact on the meta from Rebellion in Modern as yet. It's starting. I do see it, but it's not going to really be the full footprint that it will leave. So I don't think you've seen the impact of these cards, but I'm telling you, it will be meaningful. Not only because they are multicolor and they create synergies that have never existed, but that is huge. But also because they're summoners, and just summoners, period, are the most important card in your game. Why? You know this, and if you don't, you should. You can't play the best cards in your game from your deck without a summoner to match. The summoner has to be leveled appropriately in unlocking the monster levels that you want to play with. So how can you, for the least amount of money, stretch your returns within a game like Splinterlands? If you have one of these summoners, two of these summoners, look at this. If I had Water Life and Deathfire, two summoners would introduce the ability for me to play 4 splinters, right? Do you see that? With those 2 summoners, and that's all I had. Instead of having, 15, 20 different summoners like I currently have in this game, let's open my own summoners. I have a ton of summoners, and it's important, and I actually think it's really valuable to have a wide variety of options. But what I'm saying is, despite all of these being my owned summoners, the truth is I would be worse off. How do I say this? It helps me a great deal that I have access to a variety of splinters. And of course it helps me that I have a wide variety of summoners within each splinter. But if I was talking budget and I was trying to stretch my investment, like make the most out of a minimum investment in a game like this, then I would want to have summoners that worked in the maximum number of circumstances. Do you see that? So if I bought, for instance, if I was going to buy 2 summoners and start this game, what would I buy? Would I buy, for instance, Lily Shieldpaw, who is one of, I think it's about $8 a unit, and you're going to need 11 of them, so that's like a $90 summoner. It's a great card. It's a really exceptional card. And Dragon would be a consideration for the conversation about what I would do. But look at this. It's 6 mana. That's not going to work in every scenario, in every circumstance. In Little League, you can't even play it. If legendaries can't be playable, you can't even play it. There's circumstances where that wouldn't work. Whereas with the common summoners, under 3 mana, non-legendary, they apply to 2 different splinters. They create this opportunity for you to benefit in a broader way. Is it as good as, Grandmaster Wraith and, Possibilis? No, it's not. Of course not. There's no ability with Prunda Undervish. I think I'm saying that right. And these are great summoners. Grandmaster Wraith is amazing. So is Possibilis. So again, options are great, but setting aside, would you prefer to have every card? Of course you would. On a budget, where are you going to do, and what are you going to buy, and how are you going to stretch your dollar? You're going to go with these multicolor summoners. So that's why I'm making the point that they are changing the reward structure of each pack. I reminded you earlier, we get in every sort of rebellion pack, you get 4 commons and 1 rare on average. Now, historically, what that would mean, looking back at Chaos Legion, is it's not going to mean summoners. Looking back at Chaos Legion, it means 1 and 2 cent cards. Again, the prices are not very comparable because how much issuance they each include. But these cards, though interesting, are by no means as powerful, as interesting, as necessary. Some of them are pretty good. Chaos Knight I use a lot. Plantoid Plantoon I use a lot. Riftwing I use a lot. Stitch Leech, Deep Lurker. These cards, some of these cards I use a lot. Scavo Hireling, yes, they're good, great cards. But you can't even play these cards if you don't have summoners to match. And if you want to play in a high league, you're not going to do so unless you can get high monsters, and you don't get them unless you have high summoners. And if you can't afford 4 summoners for 4 different splinters, but you can afford, Prunda Undervish, and maybe that's Life Water, and you get maybe, here you go, Death Fire right there, Dolfar. Those 2 alone are going to unlock 4 splinters. That's why the Rebellion packs are special in terms of holding their value, because summoners are so important, and Rebellion packs have the opportunity to drop 4 summoners as just the base. That's not a rare, that's not an epic, they're going to be common and they're going to fall in those packs far more often than you might think. That's exciting. That's another reason why the packs should hold their value. So finally, I want to wrap this video by speaking to one path through which Rebellion packs might lose ground, might lose valuation. You know, the non-card market packs are selling for over $4. Oh, at $385 for Rebellion packs. And on Hive Engine, I think they're in roughly the same area. $377 on Rebellion. And then how much does the Splinter card say it's in terms of pack valuation? If you bought a Rebellion pack for $4 and the value, the estimated value currently is $420.19. And that's assuming you're using potions, which some of you won't have. And that's a loss. But that's a loss, but it's a narrow loss. And if you had some money and an interest in buying packs and flipping your gold foils, that's a path to sort of getting a really decent Rebellion set for yourself. Without, yes, you're going to sell off all your gold foils, maybe some of your legendaries, but you're going to recoup a lot of packs through that process, and you're going to get some max level cards. It's going to really help you. So it's interesting because the pack price is reasonable from the pack price is reasonable as compared to its card sell value. I think there's one thing to consider when we look at closing this conversation around, will Rebellion packs hold those prices? Will these Rebellion cards hold these prices? And I talked earlier about how we will probably sell 3 or 4 million Rebellion packs before we're all said and done. But I think it's really important to understand that there's one way that totally changes. There's one way that we sell way more packs than that. We will sell way more than 4 million packs if in the very near future we see Flywheel start to trigger in a big way. We see SPS go from 3 cents to 6 cents, 10 cents, 50 cents. Do you understand the mechanics around SPS? Do you understand how it gets burnt for DEC? Do you even know that people are doing this already? 32 million SPS has been burnt recently for DEC. If you come into splintercards.com and you check out their homepage, you can see the DEC liquid supply over the last 120 days has gone parabolic. That means that people are burning SPS in order to create DEC because they want to buy Rebellion packs possibly, or maybe because they want to stake it on their land. Whatever the justification may be, there's a huge demand to access DEC, and we knew this was coming, and this is part of the flywheel. And as this happens, SPS goes away. There's been 32 million DEC burnt in the last a couple weeks. I've seen this. It's been on Twitter. It's been on Discord. Amazing, exciting stuff. It means a huge amount for the future price appreciation of SPS. We saw it go from 2 cents to 3. In fact, it was around 1.5 and now it's at 3. This is amazing. It was at 3.8 or something like the other day. So what does this all have to do with Rebellion packs? Do you understand that SPS can be burnt for DEC? And it's dependent upon how it works is, it depends on how much SPS is worth. If SPS is worth 1 penny, then you need to burn 100 SPS to get 1,000 DEC, which is $1. So you burn $1 worth of SPS, which in a 1 penny SPS scenario would be 100 of them to create 1,000 DEC. You burn $1 worth of SPS, you get $1 worth of DEC. That's the formula. But as SPS grows in price, 2 cents, 3 cents, that formula changes. So now, you need 33, 35 SPS in order to access a 1,000 DEC. You come in here, you hit convert, and you type in whatever you want to convert. And let's say I wanted to convert 35 SPS. I'm going to get 1,000 DEC. 35 SPS at 3 cents per SPS is roughly $1. That's why it's giving me roughly $1 worth of DEC. Think this through. If we already showed that SPS is pumping, and we actually believe it will continue to do so, and if we have a formula in place, the flywheel, that will lead to more and more and more of it, plus if you understand what the 50 liquidity pools are that are going to come to land, and what that'll mean for DEC staking and demand, which will have an impact on SPS burning, and what that'll do for SPS price, then you can think through that this token will appreciate, SPS. And as it does, what will that do for Rebellion? It will mean that for fewer and fewer and fewer of your SPS tokens that you earn through playing this game, you should be able to access more and more and more DC. Right now it's 35 SPS equals $1. But what if it gets to a place where it's 3 SPS equal $1? What if it gets to 2 SPS equal $1? What if it's 1 SPS equals $1? Do you understand that that would mean 4 SPS if would translate to 1 Rebellion pack? If this mechanism unfolds, sort of comes to fruition, if this mechanic starts to really operate as expected, as intended, as desired, SPS will soar. And that will mean easier and easier access to Rebellion packs, because people like you and me who have been here for years, or at least months, or who have recently come but have bought a bag of SPS are going to be able to enjoy that flip. And that's a huge door that would just open. And it's like, if you see that, and if you're already invested in SPS as I am, I've got like more than $250,000, and I know people who have $1 million, and I want to have $1 million. It's exciting, because it could mean I get cards that I want in an easier fashion. I mean, I'm earning 300, 400, 500 SPS a day. That could buy me packs. So again, this relates to Rebellion, because we're talking about how earlier we talked about how limited supply will hold the Rebellion pack prices and the Rebellion card prices relatively high. I believe that. I said 3 or 4 million packs will sell. I believe that. But if SPS goes on a real bull run, because of the burn mechanics, because of the flywheel, because of the liquidity pools or land demand or the different utilities for DEC, you need to recognize what that opportunity would mean for your SPS bag and maybe for you personally in order to move into Rebellion opportunities. Because this set is amazing. It's exciting. I talked about how important the common summoners will be. I talked about how game-changing the summoners themselves are with tactics or with the dual element summoners. And some of these legendaries are amazing. They're 4 or 5 new abilities. They're so crazy. So exciting. I think the price stability is going to be there with this set, especially for the medium term, like several months, because of all the reasons I outlined in this video. But I would say the only way they lose value, Rebellion prices decline in the long term, is if we end up selling 7-8 million packs. And that would be possible if SPS goes on a crazy bull run in the next few weeks or months. Because in that environment, in that possible situation, you would see huge Rebellion pack sales. Now, I hope I'm going to leave it here, but this would, just the conclusion is, would that be terrible news that your Rebellion pack prices and maybe your Rebellion cards ultimately have lost value because they've become more common? They're not so scarce. Would that be bad news, or would it be great news? Because in that scenario, SPS is 50 cents, $1, and that's why the packs have been sold off the market and off the shelves. It's like this great problem to have. Do you see that? It's like we could have high stable card prices, which would be cool for the long term. Or if we don't, it'll mean SPS pumped wildly. And that's really awesome too. So it feels like we're caught but it's like the opposite of being caught between a rock and a hard place. Like we're caught between like love and joy. Two amazing possible outcomes that could come forward for us. And I think they look like it's gonna, like this path, this final idea, I think is gonna happen. I just don't know if it's in days, weeks, months. I don't know. But I am expecting SPS to reach high highs, and I am expecting the opportunity within Rebellion to manifest for me via SPS at a later date. I hope I'm right. And I just thank you for your time and attention. If you want more content from me, check out the members only tab on the YouTube page, and you can subscribe at whatever level you want to. You'll have access to members only live events as well as members only content. Thank you very much. Have an amazing day. God bless.